All right, hi everyone. Greg here from Essentially Everything. How is everyone doing today? Hopefully fantastic, because this week has been actually quite exciting for me. Had the pleasure to be a part of 2 webinars, and just the short length of them, the amount of information you can pull from these things they're surprisingly amazing, how much you can pull from these kinds of things. And these ones were exceptional because I pulled so much more from them, and it was like that instant recharge of the batteries, which was really fantastic. One of them was with Darren Hardy, and of course one was with someone who I consider a very dear friend as well as a mentor of mine. We were actually in the same MLM business many years ago, and it's a blast seeing her grow and how successful she's become. So she's actually, in fact, I'm honored to actually have her part of this group as well. So Stacy, thank you so much for being part of the group, and thank you for everything you've done for me. And of course, I'll most likely be chatting with you again some points. So sometimes it's just kind of nice to have that extra voice that just kind of nudges you back on track, and then every now and then when you just kind of drift, you get that smack upside the head to throw you back on track. It's always good to have. So I definitely thank you, and my hat's off to you for that. So what I wanted to cover was, in regards to the webinar that I was on with Stacy, was she had covered a topic called 5 types of personal development people. And it was really kind of an eye-opener for me, because when I tell people that I'm into personal and professional development, they kind of, it's that moment of like a process, and they, unless you're actually doing it yourself, you understand where I'm coming from, and you can relate to it. But someone who doesn't do any of that kind of takes them by surprise. It's just like when I tell them that I'm doing any MLM company or network marketing, some of you may know, or they may be called pyramids or something like that. But a lot of the times, when I talk about stuff like that, people just turn and they run the other way, or they change the subject like within an instant. And it's always fascinating. And you know what? I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. I'm not saying that these are scams or anything like that. But this is not the 70s anymore. There's regulations in place, there's government rules, there's systems that the company itself puts into place. A lot of them just, you don't see the door-to-door anymore, where people force you to put your address down or leave you product and, charge your credit card or anything like that. There's none of that anymore. And, these companies, that a majority of them that are out there now, are credible, and you can do your background research on them, and not by Google by any means. Like, don't research it, because you're always going to find the person that just lost everything and all that sort of stuff, and it's just, don't do it, it's horrible, horrible, horrible. And say, don't fall into that, and say, do some credible research on it before you make any snap judgments on it, because a lot of these are fairly credible. They are legitimate businesses, and a lot of stuff that they do and that they offer, they have to do it under certain guidelines and regulations set by not only the company itself, but by the government. And so that's why, when I tell people that I'm into the personal professional development industry, because, this is just something I love. Like, sometimes, like when you have webinars like I did this week, you just get those goosebumps that just radiate through your entire body. And it's just nuts what you get from it. And Stacy's one was only 10 minutes long, but it was, it was an eye-opener, and it was really good, and I enjoyed it. And that's the kind of stuff that I just resonate so well with. But anyways, I just wanted to kind of go over the reason being that these things are personal and professional. Oh, sorry, I got all kind of off track there for a second. Happens, I'm getting old. Needless to say, when it comes to personal and professional development, people, it is not essential. I'm not saying you have to do it, but there is so much more benefit to it when you do start doing this. And I don't mean you have to attend the hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of dollars worth of seminars, or have millions of books and read, but just pick up one of these books, pick up a little seminar, listen to some free training, that sort of stuff, because this kind of stuff is just those little tidbits. It helps you with those little bits of steps just to move you towards something that you really want, to achieve. And that's what personal and professional development is really about to me. And I think there's a tremendous value in it all. From where I was, let's say, 6 years ago, to where I am now, like, okay, I don't have a giant bank account or anything like that, but I mean, the mentality that I'm at versus when I was then is completely different. For instance, this is going to sound nuts, and a lot of people still look at me really weird, and I haven't watched the news or listened to the news in over 3 years. It's been over 3 years since I've picked up a newspaper and read the articles about, a crash or an accident or a terrorist attack or a robbery or, a murder or a killing or a kidnapping or whatever the case may be. The reason being is because I just wanted to kind of detach myself from all of that. It was taking up so much of my mind. It was making me think all negatively all the time, and it was just something that I just didn't want to be a part of. And I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to try this. I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to give it a genuine try. So I eliminated it I'm going to eliminate it for a month, and we'll see what happens. And you know what? I felt so much better. It was phenomenal, the change that it made in me. And I don't know. I don't regret it. It's weird, when there's conversations going on at work, or, if I'm out at extracurricular activity, or, I'm helping someone and they're just talking in general about, oh, did you hear this that happened in the news the other day? And I always kind of just, no. And they stop and they look at you and they're like, what? What do you mean you haven't heard? It's like all over the news. I'm like, yeah, I don't listen to the news. So anyways, then they tell me, and of course, we continue the conversation and stuff like that, because it's not like, I'm shutting the door. When that's a conversation that people want to actually have with me, then I'll roll with it, because, it's something they want to talk about. But the fact that I'm not listening to it sometimes just kind of rolls back in their head, and they think about, well, Greg's not really listening to a lot of that stuff. So, maybe I'll give that a try. Maybe that works for you, maybe that doesn't. The thing is personal development is not mandatory. You don't have to do it by any means. It's all voluntarily, or it's all volunteer. You do it at your pace. I've only read, I think I'm over 13 books now, and it's been 4 years since I've picked up a single book in my entire life to read it front to back. And I'm like, that sounds pretty sad in all honesty, but I never had the time or the real want to sit down and do it. But now I got a whole library of books waiting for me to read, and I can't wait to dig into them. I take forever reading them, because there's a lot of those. I couldn't even find one right now just to grab, because I know time is of essence. So there'll be dog-eared, there'd be highlighted, there'd be circled, there's underlines in them. They're books, if I lent you, you'd probably see exactly what I'm talking about. But anyways, I just wanted to touch base on personal and professional development in regards to that. And I want to thank you guys for coming on and being a part of this, because this is something that I truly love doing. And, feel free, send me comments, or, any personal messages or anything like that. I love hearing that stuff. Give me your story, something I may have said that may have, allowed you to kind of do a little shift or anything like that. That's all good. I want to hear it all, because that's the stuff that just gets the fires going. So anyways, I hope you guys have an absolute fantastic day. I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk very soon. And my apologies for going over a couple of minutes on this one, because, I get excited about things. Sorry. Anyways, take care. Have a great day.